Okay, I have the Cateck 3-port USB 3.0 hub for Macs with 3-slot card reader. Now, I want to start off by noting a few things here. One, I'll show you this product closer up to the camera in a minute in case you can't see it very well, to show you all the ports and various bits and bobs closer up. I'll then tell you a bit about the specs of it, what it can do. Then at the end I'll tell you if I recommend it or not and give you the price. And I would also like to note that this is made to mostly blend in with Apple style products, and I have it plugged into a MacBook Pro 13-inch from late 2013, but I have a Union Jack case on it, and that will come in, and that will be important in a minute. Okay, so it has a sleek Apple style, mostly intended to blend in with Macs, such as iMacs, Mac Minis, or MacBook Airs or MacBook Pros. Now, the reason I mentioned I have the Union Jack case on this is because this is mostly meant to blend in with your iMac. That's why you might want to pick this over other products which won't. So, if you didn't have a case on this, they are of course a sort of a silver metal look, aluminium look. So this product here, the hub would look like the MacBook, the metal of the MacBook, and blend in really, really nicely. So it is made primarily, it's designed to blend in with a Mac. However, it will work on Windows as well. So it will work with Windows 2000 or ME and newer, including Windows 10. On Mac, it will work with Mac OS 10 or Mac OS X, Lion or newer. However, they recommend to make sure you get a stable connection. If you are using an older version such as Lion, you upgrade the operating system to at least Mountain Lion 8.2. So even though it will work on Windows, it's of course made to have a sleek, cool aluminium Apple style, just like the things like the iPads, the MacBook Pros, the iMacs. So if you're using this like I am with a MacBook Pro or an iMac or a Mac Mini, this is going to blend in just like the other product. So if you have this sitting next to your Mac or sitting underneath your iMac, this is really going to look like it's a part of the whole kind of system. It's going to blend in with your aluminium wireless Apple keyboard and Magic Mouse and things like that. So this is going to look so sleek, so cool with your Mac, and yet you've got to have 3 USB 3.0 high-speed ports right there at the front. And why is that so handy? Well, of course, the more ports you have, the better. But also, if you're using a MacBook, then quite often you'll have one port on each side. So you might have a USB port on the right side of the MacBook and one port on the left. And sometimes you will get a external CD drive or Blu-ray drive or hard drive that uses 2 USBs. It will have at the end of the USB cable 2 USBs, and that will be because one is to transfer the data, such as transferring data from the computer to the hard drive, or if it's a Blu-ray, sending like the movie to the computer, and then the other USB will be to power the device, so you don't have to plug it into mains power. Well, if you have a port on each side, it can make plugging those type of devices into the MacBook really difficult, because chances are it will plug into like the right side, then the other end won't be long enough to reach all the way around the MacBook into the other port. Well, if you have a hub like this, you can plug them both straight in next to each other on the hub. So that's quite good, that's quite handy. Now, if you're using an iMac, you might have lots of ports on the back, but then they'll be at the back, so you'll have to reach around the back, or you'll have to pull the iMac to one side so you can see behind or reach behind to get to the ports at the back. Well, with this, you plug in the USB cable into one slot on the back, then you have this hub and card reader all there facing you at the front, so it's nice and handy, so you don't have to reach around the back of your iMac. It's all there right at the front, easy to get to. USB ports and card reader, not on the side and not on the back, right there at the front where you can see them and access them nice and easily. And that gets me to a point of how is it powered. No, you don't need to plug in this to your Mac and to a power supply. It is bus powered, which basically means USB powered. So all you have to do is plug it into one of the USBs on either your MacBook or your Mac Mini or the back of your iMac, and then that powers it. Your computer will power it, so you don't have to plug it into any mains power. You just plug in one USB into your computer and you're good to go. The card reader has a slot for CF cards, which is the much bigger type that you might find in older DSLR cameras, and some might still use them. You don't see CF cards much, but if you have those cards or plan on using them, this does have slots for high-speed CF cards. It also has a SD card slot, which is compatible with SDs, SDHC and SDXC cards up to 2 terabytes, which is really, really good. Because some products you see that say that they are compatible with SDXC, say, well, they're compatible with SDXC up to 128 gigabytes or something. This does the full SDXC up to 2 TB, which is really, really, really good. It also has a micro SD card slot there as well. It is hot swappable and nice and easy plug and play. Now what does that mean? Well, plug and play just means you plug it into your computer and you don't have to worry about installing software. There's no software, nothing like that. You just plug it into your computer and go. Hot swappable means that you can have it plugged in like it is now, then plug in a USB or plug in an SD card and it will pick it up on the computer. Some devices are not hot swappable. You have to plug in like the SD card into the device, into the hub or whatever it is, the card reader, whatever, first, then plug it into your computer. And if you plug it into the device, if you plug, like, say, the SD into it, when it's already plugged into the computer, it won't read it, which is ridiculous. So this is not like that. This is hot swappable, so you can leave it plugged in and then plug USBs or cards in and out as much as you like and it will pick it up. It has a built-in overcurrent and over voltage and short circuit protection, which is really, really good. So you don't have to worry too much about again, an overcurrent or over voltage or short circuit in your devices, because it has all those kind of things built in, which, yeah, you might not have that happen. Even if it didn't have that built in, you might never have a problem with that, but it's good to have that peace of mind and know that you are protected with this from overcurrent, over voltage and any short circuiting. So that is really handy and to have, so you don't have to worry too much about your hard drive or your USB thumbstick or your SD card or whatever getting ruined. It says do not exceed a combined current of 5 volt 900 milliamp an hour. So don't exceed a maximum combined load of 5 volt 900, because that isn't just for each USB port, that's, all together. So try not to have lots and lots of really high powered devices plugged into this, otherwise you might start having connection problems. But it should be okay for most uses, including having maybe one or so high powered thing put in. But if you have lots and lots of high powered things put in, you might start getting issues. So try not to exceed a maximum current of 5 volt 900 milliamp an hour, because you might start to get problems, but you shouldn't run into that issue. That is just something they do note. It is not compatible with charging devices that have irregular charging requirements. So that doesn't mean you can't charge your mobile phone in this. The chances are you can charge your device. You're probably going to be good to go. You'll probably just be able to plug a cable into this and then into your mobile phone and charge it and not worry. But it won't charge some devices that have strange requirements for charging them, such as the iPad. You can't charge an iPad in this for whatever reason. I guess iPads are a little fussy. that doesn't mean you can't charge any devices or any phones or any tablets in this. You can, just not all, because some are fussy, so just bear that in mind. It's a reasonable price as well, considering it's not just a USB hub. It is also a multiple card reader, 3-in-1 card reader, and stylized for Apple, and it has all that sort of overcurrent protection, things like that. It is £19 in the UK. It's £18.99 with an original recommended retail price of £50, $49.99. A lot of these things, which are good quality hubs, can be like £30, £40, but this has 3 USB 3.0 ports, which isn't the regular 2.0, it's a newer 3.0, which is quite high speed, and you can transfer quite large data at a relatively fast speed for £19, plus the card, plus you got those card readers built in, plus it has all that kind of protection in it for short circuiting and over voltage and things like that. And it's bus powered, so you don't have to plug it into mains power. It's a really nice device, really sleek looking as well for £19. There are some which I wouldn't consider as good that cost more, so it is a good price. Let's have a look at it closer up. Well, first off, I'm going to plug a card into it just to show you. There we go. I'm not sure how well you could see because I had to reach around the camera. I'm not sure if I blocked the lens. But there you can see on the left port, there is a regular full-size, standard size SD card, and it's a 16 gigabyte SD card. Now, underneath that, along the bottom there, is a bigger, longer slit, and that slot is for CF cards. Like I say, you might not encounter them very much because they're not really hugely used, at least not by the average consumer. They're mostly in, like I say, high-end DSLR cameras, things like that. So that one you might not even ever use, but it's good to have it there in case you do need to use it, or if you are somebody you need to use it, then it's there. Then lastly, for the SDs, you have this little slot to the right, you have this one, then to the right you have a smaller slot, which is the smallest of all the slots, and that is for micro SDs. And that is something you might encounter quite a bit, because even though you perhaps won't encounter them as much as the standard size SDs, they are used in quite a lot of products, such as smartphones. The iPhone doesn't use SD cards at all, at least not at the moment. But many phones, including many Android phones, do have micro SD card slots, either on them, on the side somewhere, or if you take off the back, where you put, sometimes you put the SIM card in under the back cover. Normally, the SD card slot, at least in that type of design, is next to the SIM card slot. So lots of phones and tablets and things do use micro SDs, and various other products do as well, such as those kind of action cams, like the kind of GoPro type cameras. Sometimes they will use micro SDs as well, so lots of products do. So it's definitely good to have a standard size SD card slot and a micro SD card slot, which is something the standard Macs don't, because yes, the iMac does have a card reader, at least in newer models, and yes, MacBook Pros, at least in newer models, do have an SD card reader, but it's just the standard size one. You don't have the CF slot and you don't have the micro slot. And yes, one way to get around that with the micro cards is you can get adapters. You can get these cards that look like regular standard size SD cards, but they don't actually have any storage in it. They just have a slot, and you can put your micro SD into the standard size card, then use that like a regular full size card. But it just makes things a little simpler, a little more kind of streamlined if you can just put your micro SD card straight into the hub, which you can with this. This saves having to use a standard size adapter for your micro cards, which you'd have to do normally on an iMac or MacBook Pro. With this, you don't have to use any adapters. You can just put your micro SD card straight into the hub, or your standard size card straight into the hub, or your CF card. And if you are a user of CF cards, you can't put them in iMacs, just straight into the slot. you can't do that, and you can't do that with micro SD cards. But with this hub, you can use any of those three types directly into the hub. It's so handy, so convenient. I'll just show you a USB plugged into the hub. There we go. Nothing much to say. I just wanted to show you a standard USB plugged into a USB slot on this. So this gives you 2 additional USB slots to your Mac. Well, there's 3 USBs altogether, but of course one of the USB ports on your Mac will be taken up by transferring the data and powering this device. So you get 2 additional ports for your Mac, or 3 altogether. There's 3 on it, 2 additional ones from what you'd have before. So that is really handy. You get 2 additional ports plus a additional full-size, standard size SD card reader. If you already have the standard one on your Mac, or if you don't, then you get that additional. Plus you have a micro SD card slot and a CF card slot. Really, really good. Now I'm just going to unplug this a minute and show you it closer up. Now this is actually still plugged into my MacBook, so it's got a decent range. It isn't a hugely long cable, but it has got decent range. Now here you can see 3 blue USB ports, and that it means they are USB 3.0, and they are. Then you have top left card slot is standard size SD. Then the long slot here is the CF card slot. Then to the right here, the smaller one is micro SD card slot. As you can see, shiny brushed aluminium, and it really does blend in with a MacBook or an iMac, or of course a Mac Mini. Then you can see this weird kind of style here on the side. Now that, if you use a lot of Apple products, you'll be familiar with. They tend to have a design like that on the Mac keyboard, such as the wireless Mac keyboards. They look like that on the side. Then on the bottom is this soft rubbery patch here. On the bottom it has this soft rubber here, which is the grip on the desk. Nice soft rubber grip there on the bottom. Then on the opposite side you have another kind of round aluminium style like you used to seeing on Mac wireless keyboards. Then the power cord. Now the only thing to bear in mind, the power cord is not detachable. It doesn't use, say, a micro USB cable. So if anything happens to this cable, at all, you can't replace it. So I would have liked to have seen that this hub used a micro USB on it that was detachable, so if anything happened to the cable you could replace it, but you can't, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm hoping you could see that quite well. I'm sure, especially once you saw the sides, you could really see just how Apple-y and Mac sort of styled this is, because not only do you have that kind of aluminium look to the front and the back and the sides, but you also have that, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but that kind of circular, almost brushed aluminium-y circular area, and that you do see on wireless keyboards of Apple's. It really looks very much like an Apple product, this. It doesn't just look like something that should blend in with a MacBook or an iMac or a Mac Mini. It actually looks like it was made by Apple. It really blends in so well with the Mac products. I'm really very impressed by the style of this and how Apple-y it is. I really do recommend it. Please like and comment on this video, and if you could do me a huge favour and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as it will help me out a lot. Also, if you're watching this as a review on the Amazon product page, please hit the useful or helpful button along with this video. That will help me out a lot too. Thanks for watching.